Video today. You know what we're talking about? We're back. The JFT football show is back. After we canceled it, it's back. So let's get started. It's a Friday night here in the United States of America. And one heck of a lot of crap has gone down this week. The first thing I want to talk about is the firings of the coaches this week, like happens every week after every week 17 end of the season. The teams that fired their coaches are the Lions, the Bears, the Colts, the Lions, Bears, Colts, who are the other teams? Lions, Bears, Colts, Raiders, and I believe that is it. But anywho, which of these jobs, and the Giants, I'm sorry. Of course, we already knew that. The Giants, which of these jobs is most wanted, per se? Well, the job in New York sounds good, in my opinion, because they're going to get Marshall back. They're going to get Odell Beckham Jr. back. They're going to get Eli Manning back. They're going to, they have a high draft pick. They could get Barkley. I mean, think about it. You get Barkley and you're freaking set, man. I think this team could come from 13-3. The 3-13 and 13-3 with a good season. And a good coaching staff. The Colts is another place. It'll be good. Chuck Pagano has been fired from there. I think getting Andrew Luck back or trading Andrew Luck for a better quarterback or better player and staying with Jacob Brissett, because that guy's a star. So which of these jobs seems like the best of them all? I honestly think the Raiders' job would be the best. Because if you're John Gruden, because he's pretty much going to sign with them, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But if you are with the if you coach the Raiders, you got Derek Carr, who's trying to prove himself as a starting quarterback after that bad year his. And you're trying to make, and you got them weapons with Crabtree. And you got them weapons with Marshawn Lynch. I'm not sure how good he'll be next year, if he'll even be on this team next year. But potentially you got him. But you got all these weapons. You got all these potential weapons. And you got a decent draft pick. I mean, you're 6-10. So let's get into the Lions too. The Lions have a franchise quarterback. They did not perform very well the last 2 years. They were on the brink of making the playoffs this year. Were in the playoffs last year, lost, of course, in the opening round, I believe. But they missed the playoffs this year because, I'm going to say this out loud, because the NFC was tough. They would have been in that wild card opportunity in the AFC. So, I mean, not to say that the coaching's that was a bad move, but probably wasn't the best in my opinion. So yeah, when it comes down to it, all these teams like the Raiders, the Giants, the Raiders, the Giants, the Bears, the Bears have Trubisky there. That could be interesting. The Bears, the Giants, Raiders, the Lions, all these teams fired their head coaches this season. But the big storyline is of this season of these coaching firings is why in the world are these coaches that have multiple wins this season at worst, like with the Giants with 13-3, 3-13. What in the world? That doesn't make sense to me. Why would you fire a coach if the Cleveland Browns have still signed, have still coached Hugh Jackson at head coach. The reason is, you might ask, the reason is because when it comes down to it, the Browns have trusted the system, and the odds have been against them a lot. Like bad quarterbacks they've drafted in the draft, not very good head coaching, different GM, different all that. But the odds have to stack. Can't be stacked against them that much. You cannot screw up 2 draft picks. You know what I mean? Like they have the number 4 pick, have them and the number 1 for the second year in a row. And you have some young stars, namely in Josh Gordon, and Coleman. But the quarterback position and the line is still a very bad thing in that team. So, if I'm gonna pick a team if I had the chance to sign with any 5 of these 4 teams, with any 4 of these teams, I'm gonna sign with the Giants. Just because I think the Giants, you get a good draft pick, potential Usain Barkley, and you're set. I mean, this team is a 6-7-8 win team. Right off the bat, and if they play good and they're in games, this team could be a playoff team next year. There's a lot of these teams that were on the brink of making the playoffs. Like everyone expected, this Giants could be in the playoffs this season. This couldn't be bad. But then it went downhill, and the coaching was terrible. And then they benched him. Then they benched Eli Manning, which he could get traded this year, or he could demand a trade. Honestly, if I was him, I'd demand the trade and say, "You disrespected me. I went out." But regardless, he did not say that yet. The offseason has not officially started yet, but we will see. So, next, we have talked about the quarterback carousel in the NFL. I mean, not the quarterback carousel. The coaching carousel in the NFL. Next segment will be a segment on the what's it called? What do you call it? Trouble in Paradise. I mean, Boston isn't really paradise in my opinion, but the football team is paradise. You're 13-3. But this is the topic that has hit the front page of the news, and I wasn't expecting to do a video on it today. I mean, I wasn't expecting to do an article or a segment on it today in the JFC Football Show here on the 5th of January 2018. But once I saw this and started reading articles and watching videos about it, this is huge news. The news is that that Tom Brady is said to have more power than Bill Belichick. And you're thinking, why he's not the head coach? But think about it. We got the TB12 crew in here, which is Tom Brady's medicine and brand thing he has going with Alex. Last name I cannot remember right now. Alex, his trainer, and everyone's saying that, oh my, this is trouble in paradise, because when you think about it, have you ever thought about the fact that Bill Belichick is not stupid? Like, he drafted Tom Brady, he's drafted Matt Castle, he's drafted Jacob Brissett, he's drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, he's drafted all these players, all these quarterbacks, namely, that ended up being or starting to be successful. Like Matt Castle had a pretty darn good career. I mean, he's an NFL player. He wasn't very successful, but he played in the NFL. Regardless, wasn't considered a bust. He was a great career backup. And you think about it, he traded them away for future draft picks, and it wasn't an issue because they had a solid starter in Tom Brady, winning Super Bowls, winning playoff games, making the playoffs year in year out. most 95% of the time have been the AFC, have been their division champions for 14 out of the last 15 times since Tom Brady has been the starter. So you think, okay, you don't have to worry about trading him away. But now he's 40 years old. And have you noticed something, that the fact that at the beginning of the season, or at the beginning of this year, or last year, 2017, you had, at the beginning of the offseason, you had Jimmy Garoppolo, you had Brissett, you had, and you had, Tom Brady. So you have probably the best quarterback in the world, as your starter. You have Jacob Brissett, who was ranked number 24 quarterback in the NFL this year, which isn't great, but you had him on your roster. And you had Jimmy Garoppolo, who is 5-0 as an NFL starter. 5-0 as a 49er. And you think about it, when your quarterback is 40 years old, what is the point? Why would you want to trade? Why would you want to trade Why would you want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, potentially your future, or Jacob Brissett, potentially your future? And the answer is because when there's an article that surfaced this week that said that in Colin Cowherd of Undisputed said this. Undisputed. I believe First Undisputed. It was made this argument at the beginning last week. I think it was at the beginning of last week that he's thought that why would you do this? Like, why would you trade Jimmy Garoppolo, who everyone according to the Patriots on the Patriots roster thought he'd be a superstar someday once he got the chance. And why would you do this? And the argument is because Bill Belichick was ready to start Jimmy Garoppolo over Tom Brady, and according to this theory, he told Robert Kraft that he wanted to do this, and Robert Kraft was like, "Nah, we're not doing this. We're starting Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. He's the franchise quarterback. He's the best quarterback we've ever had. You're not going to do this." And he said, and Bill Belichick said, "The hell with this. I'm getting rid of this." Or excuse me for that profanity. Forget about you. I don't care. I'm trading Jimmy Garoppolo. That way I can prove you wrong that he's better than Tom Brady. I'm not going to argue that, but he is potentially a franchise quarterback. And he doesn't normally do this. He doesn't normally trade away head coaches. Starting quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo and Brissett. He's definitely once Tom Brady's out, he's out. Or I guess that's the idea. And you might have seen it on the sidelines this week. This week during the NFL. A couple weeks back. Tom Brady got in the face of Josh Donald's, I believe his name, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, and said, "I don't want to." Whatever. He threw a ball to whoever threw a guy, and the offensive coordinator said that to him, and he got pissed off, and they got into the fight. So you can tell that there's trouble in paradise, if you know what I mean. And everyone said he's just a competitor, but honestly, you know what I mean. They don't do this in the NFL. You don't yell at your head coach. It's respect, but I guess the argument is that Tom Brady has more respect from his players or from his teammates than his head coach does. And so with that, will this cause any difference? This is all just off the field crap that's going around, but is this going to affect the Patriots at all this playoffs? Yes, the Patriots have not been the dominant force that they were last year and the year before that. They didn't come up and put 45 points on teams, but they are still 13-3. Don't get me wrong, they are still 13-3. Whether you like that or not, it's your own thoughts. last year they were, I think, 13-3 as well. So you're not getting any worse, if you know what I mean. So, in all honesty, where in the world, is this going to affect anything? Probably not. Probably still gonna win divisional round game against the Chiefs. I'd most likely believe that's who they'd play next week, or Tennessee, I think. But honestly, it's not gonna affect anything. So that is the my second section, or thoughts on my second round on that. So let's get into the third segment, in the final segment of this JFC football show, on the 4th of January. What in the world is going on in the NFL? You have these NFL teams, that 6 in the AFC and the NFC, that are contenders. This segment is called Contenders or Pretenders Playoffs 2018 edition. And your number one pretender on my list is the Buffalo Bills. They are here because they're in the playoffs just because of one stupid little holding call by the Ravens. If it wasn't for them, the Ravens would be. If it wasn't for that, the Ravens would be in. Regardless, they are in. I don't think they're gonna make much noise against the Titans this week. I believe, right? No, against the Jaguars this week. Sorry. But with that said, this team could potentially surprise me, but I don't think it will. They are my number one pretender in the AFC. And then on the other side, and then on the second pretender and the last pretender, the Tennessee Titans. Here is why they are a pretender, in my opinion. They have struggled as of late. The play of Marcus Mariota has dropped, honestly, this year. He was better last year. So regardless, this team is a pretender. They will not beat the Chiefs this week. Both these teams will be out, in my opinion. Now to the contender area. Starting with the AFC. The Steelers are a contender, as you know, with Brown. If they do not have Brown, the Jaguars could beat this team. Honestly. That's my thoughts on that. With Brown, they are a contender. So the next contender in the AFC, the Patriots. Like I said earlier, they may have trouble in paradise, but this team is still elite. This is not an issue, in my opinion. They will be perfectly fine this playoff season, and they will make the AFC Championship, if not the Super Bowl. Facts. And now the third and last contender in the AFC is the Jaguars. I feel like I'm missing a team. Whatever. Next, the Chiefs are actually a pretender as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that they are the third pretender in the AFC because they are pretenders. They have a good running game, but they're not Super Bowl bound. That's my opinion there. That's a quick one. Sorry about forgetting that. Back to the contenders. The Jaguars are a contender in the AFC because they have a running game, they have a defense, they have an okay quarterback. Blake Bortles, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He has surprised me this week. Yeah. And those are my contenders on the AFC. In the AFC, that is. So on the NFC, we'll begin. All of these teams are contenders. I have a super contender and a contender area here. Because none of these teams are pretenders. Like, look, the Rams hot, the Saints hot, Falcons hot, Panthers hot. Who else is on this list? Rams, Falcons, Saints, Panthers. Darn it. Whatever. There's other two teams. All of these teams are contenders in the AFC. That being said, only one of them can make the only one of them can make the Super Bowl. So start with the super contenders here. The number one super contender is the Saints. They may be a wild card team, but this team is contending. It is. They are. Facts. So, with that being said, who are the other super contenders? I believe the other super contenders are the Vikings and the Eagles. Those are the other two teams. So these, I think the Eagles are hot. I think whether Wentz or not, they're hot. And the Vikings are another team that are going to be in every single playoff game, if not the winner. And like I said, all six of these teams, that being the Saints, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Falcons, Panthers, and the Rams, are contenders. They are, because they will be contenders. None of these teams they're going to be, once they lose this season, once they lose, they're out. No, because they're going to contend for the Super Bowl for years to come. I think the NFC is going to power the AFC for years to come. But with that being said, I think the three other there's one more super contender, that being the Rams, and the other two are the Panthers and the Falcons on the contender range. So that is the video. That is the first 2018 JFC football show. I am sorry for not making a Jets football show last night. That will come next Thursday. Next Thursday, like I had planned. I was very sick last night. But that is that. I am back to making videos after a day off. There will be no videos tomorrow and no videos on Sunday. But come Monday, we'll do a recap show recapping the next team season that is number 31 overall. That is the Giants, if you did not know. So that's the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. For more like this, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you viewing this video. It helps me a lot if you show your friends and make sure they like my videos as well, because it is fun to make these videos and it's fun to be popular on YouTube. So have a nice day and goodbye.